Well, the elections are coming up and we're too young to do anything about it.
I've got an idea. Let's make a video to encourage people to do what's right.
Yeah!
Great idea!
Let's do it! It is better to trust in the Lord than put confidence in man.
Psalm 118:8.
God does not want us to be in league with evil. The lesser of two evils is still evil. Instead, God wants us to embrace what is pure and good and then simply to trust Him with our future. If the worst candidate wins, so be it. Perhaps that is what is needed to wake up more of us. Or perhaps God intends to judge this nation. It would be a mistake to help God with the election results. Remember when Abraham and Sarai tried to help God in Genesis 16?
That didn't turn out well.
And the results of their actions are still being felt today.
Have I not commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest.
Joshua 1:9.
An accomplice is a person who actively participates in the commission of a crime, even though they take no part in the actual criminal offense. If we vote for a bad candidate, we will be held partly responsible for the harm done by that candidate. This is true even if our sole intent was to defeat a worse candidate. One evil does not justify another. It would have been better not to vote at all.
In God I will praise His word. In God I will put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me.
Psalm 56:4.
Supporting the lesser of two evils tells politicians that it is acceptable for them to do likewise. If we won't stand for what is right and take the necessary hits, how can we demand it of our politicians? Christians should never make a decision based on situational ethics.
The fear of man brings a snare, but whosoever puts his trust in the Lord shall be safe.
Proverbs 29:25.
Pragmatic voting always results in a downward trend in the quality of candidates. Politicians will not change if they know that we will vote for them anyway. Good candidates seldom receive the support they need to become viable. The problem of bad choices is thereby perpetuated, and the nation continues to deteriorate until the day when our choices will be an Adolf Hitler or a Joseph Stalin.
And he said unto them, Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith?
Mark 4:40.
The argument that the lesser of two evils will buy us time to get our act together and field better candidates is wishful thinking. What happens is people become apathetic and begin justifying the acts of the lesser evil.
And fear not them which kill the body, but are able to kill the soul. But rather fear him which is able to destroy both body and soul in hell.
Matthew 10:28.
Voting for the lesser of two evils is a defensive act. What team has ever won by playing only defensively? Even when the defense scores, they do so because they are acting offensively. We need to move offensively. Vote for someone based on who they are, not on who they aren't. Vote for a good candidate, not against an evil candidate. Don't stoop to their standard. Demand that they rise to yours.
Yeah! For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind.
2 Timothy 1:7.
Principled voting means making sacrifices until enough people wake up, but it is necessary to get the ball rolling. Our nation's founding fathers sacrificed so much to secure our freedoms. We too will need to make some sacrifices to regain those freedoms. What are we waiting for? Delay and compromise will only deepen those sacrifices.
Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them, to be rulers.
Exodus 18:21.
What is it that would qualify, or for that matter disqualify, someone who wanted to run for and hold political office? Being qualified for office should raise a few concerns for us. The first concern involves the individual's character. We've been told repeatedly that a man's character doesn't have anything to do with his qualifications for office. Our founders would have scoffed at such an idea. They considered a man's moral integrity, his reputation for honesty, to be the most important qualification for office. Since the majority of his actions are out of the sight of those who have elected him, our founders thought it prudent and appropriate to select someone who had a healthy fear of what they referred to as a system of eternal rewards and punishments. After all, they reasoned, if someone will lie and cheat and steal and abuse power and not fear God in doing so, what makes you think he would fear you? The second concern involves the content of the office holder's oath. To be qualified for office, a candidate must demonstrate knowledge of how the Constitution defines, limits, and divides powers granted to the government by the consent of the people. While this seems to be a very obvious requirement, very few candidates have even read the Constitution, much less studied it in an organized way. Our candidate must also demonstrate knowledge of the political philosophy on which the Constitution is based, that there is an almighty creator God, that our rights are granted by him, and that the sole purpose of civil government is to protect and secure those God-given rights by punishing those who violate these rights. Lastly, a candidate must be willing to act in accordance with the knowledge and the beliefs that I just described. These should be the minimal qualifications for any candidate.
Choose you this day whom you will serve. As for me and my brothers, we will serve the Lord. Who will you serve?
Duty is ours, results are up to God.